Good morning. My name is Tim Williams. We're here to break down today's MLB DraftKings slate. We got four glorious, beautiful games, and I can't wait to get into it. If you're new to the channel, I'll be breaking down DFS slates for MLB and other sports as well. Mainly been doing the spring training and then the MLB season as that starts. If you like baseball, if you're into DFS, feel free to subscribe. I'm going to be giving content all season long. So yeah, let's just get right into it today. We got four games. We're going to start it off with the Atlanta Braves and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Let me bust out this Prez. Here we go. Braves Pirates. Braves are favorited today. Probably the best pitcher on this slate, Ian Anderson. Kind of slumped a little bit in a couple of his starts. 4.66 ERA, nearly 10 innings pitched. He's given up 11 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks. But the key is 18 strikeouts. So this dude can strike guys out. And the Pirates, kind of average in strikeouts as a team. But I like Ian Anderson, and we'll get into the Pirates hitting, but the Pirates have been kind of red hot as far as some of their hitters go. But over on the Braves side, hitting wise, they're 22nd in average, 9th in on base percentage. So that suggests that average will probably creep up. 20th in home runs. So they got some power. A lot of the guys are struggling a little bit. Average in stolen bases, 19th in strikeouts, no big deal. Pitching wise, as a whole with their bullpen and starters, they're 6th in ERA and 8th in WHIP, 20th in home runs allowed and 15th in strikeouts. So home runs allowed, strikeouts, kind of average. But that ERA, that WHIP, they're pitching pretty well as a team. The bullpen's looking pretty good. Their starters are giving them good quality innings. So I like the Braves here. We don't have their lineup officially yet. It's the only lineup we don't have. But if these guys are playing, I do think Acuna, Albies, Swanson, a lot of those regulars are in play. Acuna struggling, not really hitting for average, but he's leading the team in home runs. Swanson's, a base hit machine right now. Albies struggled yesterday, so maybe he'll get that bounce back game today. We'll see. Maybe by the end of this video, we'll see if that lineup is posted. But they're facing the Pirates. Brubaker is pitching today. ERA is not great. I watched him pitch his last start. He didn't look all that good. It looked a little shaken up. 5 innings pitched, 8 hits allowed, 5 earned runs. He's allowed 2 home runs. So that's key information for some of those Braves hitters like maybe Acuna or Albies. Hasn't walked anybody, 3 strikeouts. So this guy's not really going to strike a whole ton of guys out. So I like that for the Braves hitting. Pirates hitting 15th in average, 20th in on base percentage. Right in the middle in home runs. Stolen bases, don't even pay attention to that. Like, they have to get on bases, steal bases. So I don't really, doesn't look all that good to me or appealing. 17th in strikeouts. So they do strike out, which is kind of good for Ian Anderson. If he's on point today, he's going to strike a lot of these guys out. Pitching wise to the Pirates, 13th and 11th in WHIP respectively. That kind of surprised me. 13th in home runs allowed, so they do give up the occasional home run, and then 18th in strikeouts, so not bad either there. They've just been kind of average in the spring, and for a team that's with no expectations, it kind of surprised me. Adam Frazier, Cabron Hayes, Reynolds, Newman, Polanco, Moran, these guys are hitting like crazy, like insane. Like some of these guys have like 17 hits. So to be a little contrarian, those guys are probably going to be under-owned, I would guess. But they don't look like bad guys to put in today as far as, getting on base and hitting. However, they are facing probably the toughest pitcher on this slate. Moving on, you got the Mets and the Cardinals. Mets are favorited here. Walker going against Martinez, the same old boring matchup. I feel like this is like the third time these guys have gone against each other. Or at least the second. Walker has gone 6 innings, 3 hits allowed, walked 3 guys, struck out 5. So like the strikeouts aren't really there. I think he's an above average pitcher. But Mets hitting wise, they're 20th in average, 16th in on base percentage. I think those numbers will improve as the season starts. 6th in home runs. So they're really starting to hit the ball for power. 24th in stolen bases. They're not going to steal a ton. And they're dead last in strikeouts. So they're not striking out a ton. So I would probably not put any pitchers against the Mets. Pitching wise, Mets as a whole, 3rd in ERA, 3rd in WHIP. So just incredible. They're pitching lights out. They're 27th in home runs allowed. So they're not giving up the long ball either. And then they are 27th in strikeouts. They're not really striking guys out either, which is kind of sad, but I think that should improve, once they get a little bit healthier. But guys in play here, these guys are on fire. Lindor, Alonso, Nimmo. I love those three. McCann's a safe bet. He's kind of peppering base hits here and there. JD Davis, he's walking a ton. So it's not sexy in DraftKings, but he has the ability to get on base and potentially get you a run with one of those guys batting ahead of him or behind him. So that's what I kind of enjoy out of the Mets there. And then Cardinals wise, Carlos Martinez hasn't been great. To be honest, he's kind of sucked. He's pitched 11 2/3 innings, gave up 16 hits, 13 earned runs. It's not an error. He's given up 1 home run, 8 walks, 7 strikeouts. So this dude has just been inconsistent, and it's really too bad because he is a pretty good pitcher, and I think he's just best suited out of the bullpen. So I wouldn't go here at all. Hitting wise for the Cardinals, they kind of remind me of the Rays. Like the numbers are like, they don't look great, but like they're just kind of pesky and they like get on, they hit. I don't know. Average wise, they're 23rd on base, 23rd. They're not hitting home runs, they're not stealing bases, they're not really striking out. So they just haven't really figured it out. Pitching wise, they're 20th, 24th in whip. So, not great, but it definitely could be worse. They're not really allowing home runs and they're not really striking guys out either. So that's the Mets, although they do look like they're in a favorable matchup here with, Carlos Martinez pitching, probably pitch a couple, 2, 3, 4 innings. I do like that. However, their bullpen and stuff, they're not really allowing a lot of home runs. So there is some risk there. But guys that are in play for me on St. Louis or Molina, if that's like the number one guy, that's not very safe. But he does have a pretty good history against Walker. Carlson's leading off, looks decent. He's been hitting well. He's one of their prospects. And then Goldschmidt, I like too. He's actually hitting for average. He looks like he's settling in front of Arenado. Moving on, Blue Jays and the Yankees. Yankees favorite here. Trent Thornton kid going against Devi Garcia. Devi Garcia looks pretty odd. He's super fun to watch. He's a young kid. He's like 21. Blue Jays side, it looks like they're kind of going with a bullpen game here. This guy's pitched 2 innings. He's struck out 4. That's incredible, but it's a risky play because he's probably only going to go 1 or 2 innings and then they're just going to bullpen it up. But hitting wise for the Blue Jays, they're 11th in average, 12th in on-base percentage, 16th in home runs. They're stealing bases, and then 24th in strikeouts. They're not striking out a ton. So the key is that they are hitting and they are getting on base. Pitching wise, just lights out. First in ERA and whip. So they're not walking a ton of guys. They're not giving up a lot of hits. They're not giving up a lot of runs. Home runs allowed. They're right in the middle there. So they will give up the occasional home run. And 24th in strikeouts. So not overall really good, balanced team. In play, I like Vlad Guerrero Jr. I like Semien because of the home run potential. Devi Garcia tends to give up the occasional home run, maybe 1 or 2 per start. So keep an eye on that. Biggio I like because he can get on base and he has power. Moving on to the Yankees, Devi Garcia looks like a pretty okay pitcher today. He mainly because he strikes guys out. He doesn't give a lot of hits up, but he does walk guys. So one of these starts, it's going to bite him in the ass. And Blue Jays actually look pretty tough. So he's a bit risky to me. I mean, it looks good there on the surface, 1.64 ERA so far in spring, but it is risky. He will give up a home run, but he could strike out 6, so it's all relative. Hitting wise, Yankees moving up in the world, 29th. They're not dead last anymore in average, 27th in on base percentage. 8th in home runs, 8th in stolen bases, 8th in strikeouts. The triple eights there. Surprised that they're stealing bases, but it is spring training. Pitching wise, second and second. So you got a massive pitching matchup here. So that'll be fun to watch if you're watching this game. Home runs allowed, they're 13th, second in strikeouts. So they're striking out tons of guys. So that doesn't really look great for the Blue Jays going against their bullpen. But guys in play here, DJ, good track record against Thornton, so he's at least going to see him one time. Sanchez I like here because of the power potential. He's actually hitting pretty well. He's lost some weight. Judge, Stanton are obvious plays. Torres as well. I don't think I'm going to load up on the Yankees because the pitchers for the Blue Jays are actually pretty solid, in their bullpen too. I bet we'll see a home run or 2 from the Yankee side. But it would be wise to maybe get a couple of those Yankees guys in there, but I wouldn't really necessarily stack them. But if you do stack them, I totally get it. So they look pretty good actually here, and they're favorites. And then last but not least, you got the Twins and the Rays. Rays are favorited. Pineda going against Archer here. Both look well. Pineda looks a little shaky. He's only pitched once, so they're really slowing. They're bringing him in slowly. He's definitely gained some weight, I'll tell you, over the years. But yeah, 2.2 innings pitched, 5 hits. I watched that game. He got out of trouble a lot. He's only walked one guy. He struck out 6, which is really good, really promising going against a Rays team that does strike out a lot. Twins average wise, they're 30th, and then they're dead last in average and on base percentage. They have been stinking it up. 22nd in home runs. They're not stealing bases. They're not really striking out either. So they're just perhaps really, really unlucky. I'm not really sure. Pitching wise, 22nd in ERA. WHIP isn't too bad. Home runs allowed right in the middle. Strikeouts, they are striking guys out. So the bullpen looks all right. And then hitters in play, it's not sexy. It's not a sexy lineup, but they are efficient at times. And you have Cruz, Donaldson, Polanco. Polanco I like the least, I guess, but he does tend to get on base. He can walk. On the other side, Archer pitching against the Twins. I love the matchup because the Twins haven't been hitting very well at all, but Archer in himself is very risky. He's kind of just coming back from a couple seasons of mediocrity. Hasn't allowed a hit. And I think he started once, but 3.1 innings pitched, struck out 3. So that's a good sign. Average wise for the Rays, 21st, 22nd on base percentage. So not great, but they're like the Cardinals, like they're pesky. Like there's games where they just like run up the score. They get on base. It's kind of wild. So it's like high risk, high reward, I guess. Like you could play them and then they suck, and then you don't play them. They do awesome, but that's recency bias. 18th in home runs, 21st in stolen bases. They do strike out a lot. Pitching wise, not great. They haven't been really good at all. And that bullpen is just allowing way too many home runs. They're 3rd in home runs allowed. And I really think mainly it's coming from their bullpen. And then 28th in strikeouts. They're not striking guys out either. So that's not a good sign for the Rays going forward. But, I think they went to the freaking World Series. So they should improve. In play, Margot's been hitting the ball very well. Meadows, I don't like it here because his average stinks, but he's 4th in home runs this spring. So the power's there. I have to put him there. Yandy Diaz and Willie Adames. Adames is hitting 9th. I don't like the play, really. That's the thing about the Rays. It's like they're not just like a sexy hitting team, but like they seem to get on and score runs, even though like their overalls don't tell you so. But we'll go over to the DraftKings website here and kind of check it out. Like Ian Anderson looks like the safest play to me, although the Pirates are red hot. So there is some minor risk there. And he has been kind of a little bit shaky. Devi Garcia, because of the strikeout potential, like I like that there, but again, risky because the Blue Jays are just crushing it. This is looks like the Mets actually took out. So this is always good to check. It looks like they took out Taijuan Walker and put in Corey Oswalt. So let's just look up Corey Oswalt. I believe he's just kind of a bullpen guy. Career 6.19 ERA. He's been kind of lit up in spring training. He has almost gone 5 innings. He's given up 5 earned runs, 2 home runs. So that's kind of important. He has given up a couple home runs, and this is probably a late like tap on the shoulder, like, hey bud, you're pitching today. He has struck out 6 guys though. However, the Cardinals don't really strike out that much. So Cardinals hitters get a little bit of a boost. Goldschmidt, maybe Carlson, switch hitter. So I'm not too worried there. Dean's been hitting the ball okay. But yeah, so that's kind of interesting. That's something to look into. Martinez has been kind of not great lately. So I like him in this spot. Davis, is a decent play. McCann's safe. But overall, so it is what it is. You got some repeat matchups. You got some tough pitching matchups. I hope this video helped you to make some better DFS decisions. My name's Tim Williams. I really appreciate you watching, subscribing, liking this video. You guys are awesome. The feedback I've been getting is wonderful. Really appreciate it. I hope you guys are out there winning. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.